Some faces become legends. Not because we know who they are, but because we never do. This sketch belongs to a man who carried out one of the most daring crimes in aviation history before vanishing without a trace. More than 50 years later, his true identity remains a mystery. This is the story of D.B. Cooper. November 24, 1971. The day before Thanksgiving, Portland International Airport was bustling with travelers eager to return home for the holidays. Families hurried through the terminal, businesspeople checked their watches, and airline staff carried on with another routine day. Among the crowd was a man who looked completely ordinary. He wore a black business suit, a neatly pressed white shirt, a thin black tie, and dark sunglasses. In one hand, he carried a simple black briefcase. Nothing about him suggested that, within a few hours, he would commit one of the most daring crimes in aviation history. He calmly purchased a one-way ticket with cash, boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305, and disappeared forever. More than 50 years later, no one knows who he really was. This is the mystery of D.B. Cooper. Today, boarding an airplane means passing through metal detectors, baggage scanners, and strict security checkpoints. But in 1971, flying was remarkably different. Passengers could walk into the airport, buy a ticket with cash, and board a plane within minutes. There were no TSA agents, no X-ray machines, and very little baggage inspection. People trusted that flying was safe. That trust gave one man the perfect opportunity. He wasn't trying to escape the country. He wasn't making a political statement. He had a far more ambitious plan. Once the aircraft was in the air, the man ordered a bourbon and soda, lit a cigarette, and quietly watched the clouds drift past his window. To everyone around him, he seemed like an ordinary businessman. Then he called over a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner and handed her a folded note. Assuming it was another passenger trying to flirt, she slipped it into her purse without reading it. The man leaned closer and spoke calmly. "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." In an instant, an ordinary flight became one of the most famous hijackings in history. Following his instructions, the flight attendant sat beside him. Without raising his voice, the man opened his black briefcase just enough for her to see inside. She later described what looked like red cylinders connected by wires and a battery. Whether the device was real has never been confirmed, but she had no reason to doubt what she was seeing. The hijacker remained calm. He never shouted. He never panicked. He simply explained what he wanted. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. The crew quickly realized they were dealing with someone unlike any hijacker they had encountered before. The man remained remarkably calm. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't panic. Instead, he spoke with quiet confidence, giving the flight attendant a list of demands. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting when the plane landed in Seattle. What puzzled investigators most was his request for 4 parachutes. Why not just one? Some believe it was a clever strategy. If authorities thought he might force someone to jump with him, they wouldn't dare risk giving him defective parachutes. Every detail suggested this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment crime. It was carefully planned. As Flight 305 circled above Seattle, officials on the ground rushed to meet the mysterious passenger's demands. Banks gathered $200,000 in $20 bills, carefully recording every serial number in hopes the money might someday lead investigators to the hijacker. Airport personnel prepared the parachutes while law enforcement worked quickly but cautiously. Inside the aircraft, the passengers had little idea of the tense negotiations unfolding below them. The countdown had begun. When the plane finally landed, the exchange went exactly as promised. The requested items were delivered. In return, the mysterious man allowed all 36 passengers to leave the aircraft safely. No one had been harmed. No shots were fired. No chaos erupted. Only the flight crew remained on board. For a brief moment, it seemed the ordeal might be over. But the most dangerous part of the plan was only just beginning. With only the crew remaining, the aircraft took off once again. Outside, darkness had fallen over the Pacific Northwest. Rain lashed against the windows as strong winds buffeted the Boeing 727. Somewhere high above the forests below, the man prepared for the final stage of his escape. Then, at approximately 8:13 p.m., the crew felt a sudden change in the aircraft's movement. Moments later, they realized what had happened. The mysterious passenger was gone. He had left the aircraft somewhere over the vast wilderness below. Whether he landed safely or disappeared into the night forever remains one of history's greatest mysteries. The moment the crew confirmed that the mysterious passenger was no longer on the aircraft, one of the largest search operations in FBI history began. Investigators believed he had jumped somewhere over the rugged forests of the Pacific Northwest. The area was vast, filled with dense evergreen trees, steep mountains, winding rivers, and rough terrain. Helicopters searched from above while ground teams combed through miles of wilderness. Search dogs followed possible trails, and military aircraft assisted in scanning the region. The operation lasted for days. Despite the enormous effort, not a single confirmed trace of the hijacker was found. No parachute, no clothing, no briefcase, not even a footprint that could be linked to him. It was as if he had vanished into the night. For nearly a decade, the trail had gone cold. Investigators chased hundreds of leads, interviewed countless suspects, and searched vast stretches of wilderness. Yet every clue ended the same way, with more unanswered questions. Then, on a quiet afternoon in February 1980, the mystery took an unexpected turn. 8-year-old Brian Ingram was spending the day with his family along the banks of the Columbia River in Washington. While digging in the sand, he uncovered something unusual. At first, it looked like a bundle of old, decaying paper. But as more of it emerged, investigators made a stunning discovery. The faded bills matched the serial numbers of the ransom money handed over during the hijacking nearly 9 years earlier. It was the first, and only, confirmed piece of physical evidence ever recovered from the case. But instead of solving the mystery, it created an even bigger one. How did the money end up buried along the riverbank? Had D.B. Cooper survived? Or had the river carried the money there long after his disappearance? Even today, no one knows the answer. The discovery of the money reignited the investigation. Over the years, the FBI examined hundreds of potential suspects. Some were experienced skydivers. Others had military backgrounds or aviation knowledge. Several even resembled witness sketches. One by one, investigators followed each lead. Some suspects couldn't be placed near the crime. Others failed fingerprint or DNA comparisons. Some simply didn't fit the evidence. Despite decades of investigation, no suspect could be conclusively identified as the man known as D.B. Cooper. His true identity remained a mystery. More than 50 years later, people still debate what happened after that jump. Some believe Cooper survived, using his knowledge and careful planning to disappear under a new identity. Others argue that no one could have survived the freezing rain, powerful winds, and rugged wilderness below. Another theory suggests the missing money may still be hidden somewhere in the forests of the Pacific Northwest. Without new evidence, every theory remains exactly that, a theory, and perhaps the greatest mystery is that the truth may never be known. Whether D.B. Cooper survived or not, one thing is certain. His story became a legend. It inspired books, documentaries, television shows, films, and endless discussions among investigators and mystery enthusiasts around the world. The case also changed aviation history. In the years that followed, airport security became stricter, and aircraft were modified with new safety measures designed to prevent a similar escape. More than half a century later, D.B. Cooper remains one of the world's most famous unsolved mysteries. More than 50 years later, the mystery of D.B. Cooper remains unsolved. Who was he? Did he survive the jump, or did he disappear forever into the wilderness? Perhaps we'll never know, but that's exactly why the legend of D.B. Cooper continues to fascinate the world. What do you think happened? Share your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to Tenformative, and turn on notifications for more fascinating mysteries and true stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.